Hey, Madison, how are you? I'm so excited to have you on the podcast today. For anyone listening or watching, I have Madison. What's your last name? Say your last name because I don't want to mess it up. Saruko.
Zariko. Yeah, you did it. Yeah,
I
that's
did it.
great.
Thank you. I probably should have practiced that. But I have her on. She's a good friend, a former coworker. We worked together back in our B2B tech job a few jobs ago and met and kept in touch over good old social media for the past few years. She is a demand gen manager. We worked on a marketing team together. And she's also a mom and a podcaster. So I'm so excited to have you. Feel free to introduce yourself and share a bit about what you're excited to talk about.
Yeah, happy to. And so happy to be here and catch up.
Yes.
It's been too long. But yeah,
Okay.
I work for a cybersecurity company. We met in our Continuum Now ConnectWise days, which
Yes.
feels like a lifetime ago.
Mhm.
Since then I up and moved to Texas. So we did a little
Yeah.
cross country move. We have since moved back, had
Yeah, we have to get together because 'cause we're not too far away now.
We're not. No. We're in Portsmouth now.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I'm only 30 minutes away from you.
We'll have to get the kids together.
Yes, perfect.
And yeah, I have two kids, a 4.5-year-old daughter
Wow.
and 2.5-year-old son.
Mhm.
So in the thick of it, been in the thick of it.
Yeah, I've been in the thick of it.
Yes. Yes.
Well, props to you. You're doing it all, it seems, or we're all trying to do it all, and never quite can, but you're doing it. So, so
Thank
glad to chat with you. And what I love is, following your podcast, you're just extremely open, honest, and real. And this podcast is called Get Real. And I completely love the way you know, highlight um, and speak to and just cover so many important topics for moms in particular. And today we're going to talk about how honest motherhood creates deeper connection, community, and purpose. So very aligned with that. Um, and you're a working mom. You're focused on your career, but motherhood is so important to you. So I kind of just want to jump in. Um, and talk about your own personal experience, which I know sometimes may feel uncomfortable for people, but we're going there, which is what I like to do and what Madison likes to do as well. So, my first question is, what made you start speaking more openly about your experience instead of just keeping harder parts to yourself?
Yeah. I I had to. There was no for me, there was kind of as part of my healing journey, there was no other path forward other than to talk about it and to write about it.
Yes.
And I'm sure for anyone listening who isn't aware, I when I had my daughter, I ended up going into labor at essentially 23 weeks
Wow.
and was able to make it to 24 weeks and 3 days is when Zoe was born.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So, welcome
So,
to motherhood.
welcome. Jump start to the rest of your life.
Oh, yes. And to top it off, we were living in Texas. We had flown home. We were supposed to go on what we thought was going to be a baby moon.
Oh, yeah.
We ended up getting stuck in Massachusetts for about 5 months after she was born. She stayed in the hospital for 4.5 months as she
Wow.
grew and kinda as we navigated all of the hardships that come with being so premature.
Yes.
And so for me, I think there was a long time where I just felt so isolated, so alone in how I was feeling. I was also the first of my family and my friend group to have kids.
Oh,
So,
yeah. That's
I
also
didn't
hard.
yeah, there was no one had experienced it before me to even reach out and kind of check in or just see how things were going. And then on top of
Mhm.
that, with such a traumatic experience, nobody knew how to show up or support me or
Yeah.
communicate in a way that felt good to me or felt good to them. And so it was just a really challenging time navigating through all of my feelings, trying to survive, honestly. I mean, I was just kind of living in survival mode for so long. And I think through therapy and writing about my experience and kind of being able to put names to it of I was grieving. I was grieving
Yeah.
a pregnancy that I didn't get to, complete or get to that finish line. I was grieving all of those firsts that you're sold about, this beautiful baby that you grow this connection with, and then, you give birth and they put them on you and you have this what I thought was supposed to be an instant connection, and now
Yeah.
kind of all of that was just taken away from me. And so it was really disorienting. It was really an experience that forced me to kind of crack open and I think a lot of ways that prior to that experience felt really uncomfortable. I'm
Yeah.
actually I wasn't a very vulnerable person. I didn't like to share my kind of
Yeah.
feelings. I didn't like to open up, and so I think through all of that, again, I'm the type of person that there doesn't need to be a silver lining. Like you can just go through
Yeah.
a horrible experience and that's that. But I do think
Mhm.
for me, as painful as it was kind of me cracking open and becoming
Mm.
someone and something that I think I really needed.
Yes. Oh, wow. I have chills right now because I can actually just I have so much to say,
Yes.
to respond to what you said, but I feel like motherhood does that in some way to every single mother. And obviously, I'm a mom of a 2-year-old, and um, I also had the experience of it cracking me open. I needed that, and I'm still in the process of becoming that new version of myself. And, talking about when you dream your whole life. If you want to be a mom, you dream of getting pregnant, giving birth, holding your baby, them in the newborn phase when you're cuddling and everything. And, especially with Instagram and just like influencers, and there's all these expectations, and everyone, even people that you're friends with, your family members, everyone has a different experience. And so the expectation setting can be actually really tough. And what blew my mind, and you can probably relate, is like, whether your birth is normal, whether it's an emergency situation, whether it's really scary, whether it's, um, you know, just the typical long labor, whatever it is, I believe that giving birth is a form of trauma. Yes, it's beautiful, and it you birth your child. It's a very powerful experience that a woman is able to do that, but it's traumatic for your body, for your emotions, and like we were saying, it cracks you open. And I feel like when you give birth, it's like this initiation into your new identity, and it's like pretty disorienting, like you were saying. And so to not be able to fully talk about that, for one, and then recover and like digest and absorb what actually happened, because you go in and you're sleep deprived. It's like so much at once. You're in survival mode. No matter what situation you're in, you have to feed your baby, you have to do X, Y, and Z. um so it's a crazy experience, but you in particular, and I have read your blogs. So that's when I first really understood what you even went through. Because we're connected on social, and you said you felt like you had to share. And so I see, oh, Madison wrote a blog. Like I always enjoyed your writing anyway. Like I always knew you were good at blogging, and I was like, oh, let's check this out. It's a personal blog. And then it's like, holy crap. Speaking about your experience with your daughter, with her premature birth. And like you were kind of saying, you assume you'll be able to hold your baby when they're born, and you didn't get that. So, speaking about the grief and, um, because I've had my own versions of grief. I was just talking before we started recording about I had to grieve not having the nursing, the breastfeeding experience that I thought I would have. And it was, a part of me was heartbroken. And so did you feel the same about just the expectations? Like, how did you, I know you said you have done therapy, but how did, how was that processing experience for you? Because it's so emotional. So just, I want to hear kind of your perspective on that.
Yeah. It is very emotional, and I think expectation and control are so
Yeah.
interwoven. And I think for me, for a really long time, I think I'm still working on it. There is there is so much control you try to maintain or hold on to, especially as a newly postpartum mom, as you're navigating infancy and kind of those early stages, because it's so new and there's so much pressure you put on yourself, society puts on moms to be the best mom or parent or whatever it may be, and to provide and to sacrifice
Hmm.
and kind of I think that's where I got really, you know, tripped up, or it just felt really difficult, because I had all of these expectations that now were just shattered. Like I didn't have a choice. It was like I was forced to relinquish all of that control, and I
Yeah.
think it's actually really interesting. I've talked to my husband about this, and again, maybe a silver lining in this, and again, I know it's something I'm still working on, from, control and expectations and letting things just kind of be and play out, but
Mhm.
being forced to relinquish so much control. You have doctors and nurses that are now caring for your child. You are not the sole supporter. You have nurses hand-holding you through everything you need to do. It's almost like a crash course into parenthood that we got as we spent this time in the hospital.
Yeah.
And because there was no other choice but to kind of put her life in other people's hands, I think it immediately broke what I think a lot of new moms feel in their postpartum period, and even the early years of their children's lives, of just kind of leaning in and letting go versus holding on so tight to you being the only one that can provide, or,
Hmm.
manage through whatever the situation is. And so for me, it was a really beautiful thing that Tyler and I were in that together,
Yeah.
and it forced us to become true partners
Oh,
in kind of that.
that's sweet.
And so I think that that was something I look back on, and I'm very grateful that that was kind of the first push to just let go. But then,
Yeah.
if you have like a vice grip on something, maybe I let go a little bit, not all the way. And so
It's like,
through I know, through all of the stages of infancy and toddlerhood, and even since my son, I think the more the more you can relinquish that control, the more freeing motherhood feels,
yes.
but it's not easy.
It's not easy at all. I'm actively working on this too. Like, we're talking in real time. We're
Yeah.
both learning every second of the day as moms. Um, and well, first of all, I like what you said about Tyler, your partner. Going through something so intense and doing it together and supporting each other. I mean, it's hard. And, when you're parents in any partnership, it'll challenge your relationship, and you talk about this on your podcast so honestly, and I love it, because this is I feel like my friends don't open up about like, "Oh, my it's been tough with my husband," or like, most people don't say that, and I just love that you do, but, you clearly I mean, ever since I met you, you were with Tyler, and you always had a really special partnership, but I'm sure it's just deepened and deepened since having kids and going through something like that, and, my husband, Gabe, we went through my birth and my postpartum stuff, but then also the death of both of my parents. And, people go through life and you go through it together. And it's not always easy, but figuring out how to be, like you said, like true partners in it is so beautiful. And it takes work though. Every day it takes communication. Like, what would you say has because you guys got to the point where you decided to have another child after that scary experience. So, can you kind of explain your communication through that and going through kind of the second round of having a child
Yeah. Yeah.
while raising your other child? And she's doing great, right?
She is, yes. She is
Oh,
thriving.
that's
She's
so good.
heading off to kindergarten in
Wow.
September, which
Oh my
feels
gosh.
insane.
That's
Yes,
insane.
it is. It is. But you're right. It was a huge mental game
Yeah.
that I felt like I had to play with myself and to get to the point to want to have another child to
Yeah. I'm
I
not there yet. I'm
yeah,
feeling it out. I'm feeling it out.
I hear you. It's tough. Yeah, it's I respect anyone's decision on where they stand with
Yes.
that because the mental and physical toll it takes on you, your body, your emotions, your relationship. I think that's something that I was not fully aware of
Mhm.
when we had Zoe of how much it changes your relationship with your partner and how much stress it can put on your relationship. And
Yeah.
I think people maybe have like a misconception that kids are going to help solve
Yeah, I'm like,
some of that.
it. That's not the way to
Not
go about
yes,
it.
not the
Nope.
case at all. So I think there was a lot of conversations that we had early on of do we want what are the risks? Do we want to go through this again? Can we handle going through what the potential outcomes of this may be?
Mhm.
And there was a lot of doctor's appointments ahead of time.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes, I was
You
like, we are
gotta
going
do.
you do, you have to be so prepared. So I
Yes.
think I've talked about this on our podcast, but I fired my old doctor, my OB.
Really?
Yes, she did not support me
Wow.
in a way that felt good at all after I had Zoe.
Really?
Yes, you're gonna cringe.
Oh, god.
So I was obviously at in Massachusetts when I had Zoe, and my OB was back in Texas, and
Okay.
I think at that point, I sent a portal message of just she's my daughter came early, she's here, and she said something along the lines of, like, "There's no way to know this could have happened. We'll know for next time." And that's, like,
Well,
all
no
sh
for next time?
I was like, "Excuse that is, like" you just said all of the wrong things.
There was no way to know we'll know for next time?
Yes, that's how you what you say to
What?
a mom who just went through the worst experience of her life.
Yeah, like, you went through something so intense, and she could have given you more. She could have given you so much more.
Yes. So, I was like, "You're
Wow.
fired. You're done."
You're fired. Oh my
And
god.
so, I, like, always joke. I started kind of dating doctors or trying to find who felt like a good fit because
Well,
I was like,
that's important.
so important, like
Mhm.
that patient doctor relationship, being able to advocate it for yourself or feel advocated for through your doctor, that was super important. I uh, just was, like, laser focused, I think, on all of like, tactical things I could do. So I was like, "I'm
Yeah.
going to go to an acupuncturist. I'm going to go to a
Mhm.
chiropractor. I'm gonna make sure my body's in alignment to be able to carry a healthy pregnancy. I'm going to
Yeah.
make sure my blood's flowing, and I'm doing everything kind of that I can."
Mhm.
So I did a lot of prep work there. I made sure that I was in therapy to kind of talk through what all of that looked like. I will also say at that time I didn't love my therapist, which I
Okay.
should have fired her.
Oh, really? At least you're talking, though.
Yeah.
At least something was being processed.
Yes, yes. Something was happening.
Something was happening.
And yeah, I think it was a lot of conversations of how I could lean on Tyler,
Okay.
and I needed, I think, to be able to lean on him because I knew the mental games I was going to have to play with myself to kind of get myself, my mind, my body ready.
Mhm.
And I think it was ultimately like, I need you to step up. I need you to step in more when it comes to Zoe. I need
Yep.
you to take on more of the physical load at home. I need you to support me in ways that you probably maybe haven't supported me in the past, or
Mhm.
you didn't know you needed to support me. So I think it really forced us to have a lot more direct, vulnerable conversation that we weren't having before.
Okay.
Because I think right after Zoe, even, and I think it's still something we're actively working on, with everything you have on your plate, the mental load of parenthood, the physical load that you're carrying
Yeah.
from being a professional and being a mom and everything that comes along with that, I um I wasn't communicating, and I my
Okay.
needs, and
Yeah.
I had the expectation that he would just know. Like, "You're supposed to know what I need. You need to support me in ways that
Yeah. You can
how
read
do
my
you not."
mind, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think that was probably the biggest one of
Okay.
just being direct, which also is a mind game because it's like another thing you have to add to your list.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And this is so important because it's a mental game, the whole
Mhm.
thing with yourself and with other people like your partner. And I feel like oftentimes, like I've been in this situation where there's guilt when
Yeah,
you're advocating for your needs first, whether that's in something like preparing for your pregnancy in the most healthy way possible and planning everything, or
yeah,
just in daily life of being a parent and juggling everything, making sure you're focused on your health and your rest when you need to, but then also you have your outlets where you're feeling fulfilled. Like I know you work fulfills you in certain ways, and I'm the same way. So n- just letting go of the fear or guilt of not communicating that
mhm,
in order to, because that's the only way that you'll be where you need to be to properly show up as the best version of yourself and as a mom, right?
yeah,
Um, so, I mean, I'm again still learning this and still practicing this every day. It's a
yeah,
challenge. But when you're able to do that, your children notice though. And it's not something that's like, oh, you're neglecting them by going and doing something for work or having some alone time and your partner takes over in certain ways, right?
yeah.
So what was Tyler's reaction when when you started being more direct? Was it Did he just easily understand where you were coming from and responded well, or did you have to have multiple conversations to kind of both be on board?
Yeah. I think multiple conversations.
Mhm.
It's I think it's like a lifelong lifelong
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
where you're always rebalancing, you're always kind of recalibrating what worked one time might not work the second time, which is so fun and frustrating.
Oh, yeah. So fun.
Oh, so fun. But yeah, we had to have a lot of conversations and I think it's hard. I think men deserve more credit or partners deserve more credit
Yeah.
because I think we have every right to communicate our needs, to have those needs served. And I think women just in general have more needs, and that's
Mm.
okay. But I do think the reciprocation is so important of also making sure that they're communicating their needs and those are also being met, or
Mhm.
you're figuring out how to have the right level of give and take because while you're maybe pregnant, maybe it is 70-30 most of the time where
Yeah.
you have needs and maybe there's take a little bit of a back seat, but I think yeah, we had to have a lot of conversations. I feel like there was a lot of times where we'd come back together and I'd still feel like my needs weren't being met or I wasn't being heard or I was just struggling. And I think there was a piece of that I really had to sit with of what am I doing for myself to kind
Yeah.
of get myself in a better place
Mhm.
because I think I was relying on him too
Mm.
much to get me somewhere that unfortunately like it was work I needed to do
Mm. Well,
on my
that's very self-aware that you did realize that. You've done some hard work, clearly.
Yes.
Um, and I'm right on that path with you. It you can ask for help and that's fine and dandy and that's good, especially with your partner that's with you every step of the way. But at, there comes a point when you have to just look inside yourself and say, I'm in control here. I'm
Yeah,
talking to myself in my head all the time. What am I saying and how can I shift that? And how can I comfort myself and take care of myself like a mother? Like I'm actually starting to I feel like the key for me is to think about my inner child and mother her.
yeah,
And I was actually drafting something about this earlier this morning and um that I think that's what it comes down to is caring for yourself. And you've spoken about the responsibility of you feel the need to break patterns, right? And I'm in the same way and nothing against the way I was raised. I had very loving parents, but you know, from generation to generation, there are traumas and unhealed wounds and they're passed down and the kids take on all of that,
yeah,
if it's not dealt with. So you and I clearly are both processing and working through things as best as we can for our
yeah,
children, right? That's what it comes down to. Um, and I also want to talk about the sense of community because you mentioned, and I think a lot of people can relate, like you were the first one in your friend group to have kids. And like I, I was actually not the first in my group when my good friends had kids, I didn't get it. I didn't get it until I went through it. And then when other friends that were moms reached out, like checking on me, it made me like tear up because I'm like, that means so much that they get it. Like,
yeah,
my friend sent me, like, those big, like, pad diapers that you need to wear right when you're recovering, and, like, that may seem like a weird gift, but it was, like, the most beautiful gift I've ever gotten. And so, now, like, being able to understand that and be that for other women, not just, like, with the tactical things, like, yes, it's great to think and check in, but also just speaking about things. And so I want to hear how you got to the point of having your kids. And then now one outlet for you is your podcast. Grace, never heard of her. Grace Who Pod,
yeah.
which I listen to. So just talk about how you got to that point where now you're openly discussing things that I feel like a lot of women need to hear, and that's helpful for people.
Yes. I started having these conversations when we were still living in Texas. Our
Mhm.
next door neighbor, there was one house in between us. So basically my next door neighbor also had a child 6 months younger than my oldest, and then ended up having her second about 5 months after Parker.
Oh.
So we were in the thick of it together. We actually did a nanny share for
Oh,
the
wow.
first year and a half of our oldest lives,
Wow, cool.
which just forces you to get intimately close with some.
Yeah, I've never like, what does that entail really for anyone who doesn't know what that
It
is actually?
so we were still in COVID time, so I don't maybe there's some nuance here, but we were all working remotely at the time,
Mhm.
and we would switch off weekly having the nanny and the kids at one of our houses. So one week
Okay.
both kids would be at our house. The next week, they'd go over to Gina and Chris's house, and the nanny and our kids would be in our space from basically 9 to 5. It was our
Yeah.
full-time childcare.
Mhm. That's nice that you get to switch houses, so sometimes you can have, like, that quiet
Yes.
break.
Oh, yes. The
That's
weeks
really
that
nice.
they were next door were
Right.
the best weeks. Oh, yes. So
So that's a
we
bonding experience.
it was a bonding experience. We just started having really real conversations. She, I think, struggled a lot with her oldest and just again, I think some of those generational patterns and
Huh.
healing her inner child and just being triggered. And then
Yeah.
I think at that point I still think I had a lot of resentment and anger and probably jealousy for what I
Oh,
was seeing online mostly and social, and
that's
then
very
I
common.
it's awful. Yeah, it's really hard, and I think, that's when friends started having kids, and they would have, more typical experiences, and so I think I just struggled a lot in those early years of this this isn't fair. Why did this happen to me?
Yeah.
How do I find a path forward? How do I talk about this? How can I kind of find purpose in
Yeah.
this situation? And so I think talking about it with Gina and just being super vulnerable and hearing each other's perspectives, I think helped ground one another as well of, "Hey, your heart is so different than mine, but
Yeah.
you're also going through something extremely difficult, and I might not know how to support you, but that maybe isn't the point anyway, to
Yeah.
it's just to sit and to listen and for you to
Yes.
feel heard and validated in your experience."
Mhm.
And so once we started having more of those conversations and realizing we're feeling such similar things, but our experiences are so different, we were like, we need to do something with this.
Yeah. There was something there.
There was. So we joked about it for a while, and then we moved back to New Hampshire. They actually ended up moving back to Chicago.
Oh.
And so I think originally we used it as a way to just stay connected because we had
Yeah.
such a close bond while we were there. And then I think for me at least, I felt like this great friend who knows so many vulnerable, deep, kind of in the trenches things about me. I want I want to keep that connection. I want to grow this
Yeah.
friendship. I want to
That
maintain it.
closeness.
Exactly. So we decided, what let's give it a shot. Why not?
Why not?
We were very intentional saying, you know, it this is for us, but also for the moms that we have talked to and that have told us they feel alone or they feel isolated, and we were like, we want to bring these conversations to light. We need to have them for ourselves to feel sane, to feel grounded, and we'll kind of just see where it goes from there.
Yeah, and the what you've said a few times in this conversation is like it's something you needed.
Yeah.
It's you needed to share, and then so many other women who maybe are isolated, they don't know what they need. It's that connection. And what you said was so beautiful about it's not about responding in the perfect way or having the same exact experience to mirror each other. It's listening and
Yeah.
just sitting with it and letting someone know that I hear you. I see you. I acknowledge your journey, your experience, your unique motherhood, and your unique path as a person. And that's what it's really all about. That's what I'm trying to do with my work with Own Person in a different way, but
Yeah.
to remind people that you can be seen as you are, and that's how you should be seen, and that you should feel empowered to share the real stuff. So that's why I've just always loved ever since you started your pod, I've been like, "Oh my gosh, this is really powerful." Not only because it's just extremely relatable, but just because I don't see a lot of things out there that are as unfiltered. And, you can, and I can sense like the relationship between you and Gina and just like that sisterhood bond. And I feel like when you're a mom, it's kind of like the club of like, even if I'm walking down the street and I see a mom with little ones in the stroller, I'm like, hi, like I get it.
Got it.
You get it, you smile and you get it. So that's just so special and cool that you're like, why not? Let's go for it. Was it scary at all when you started sharing your own personal stories on the podcast?
It definitely was. Like I said, looking back, pre-kids, I don't know that anyone would use the word vulnerable to describe me.
Yeah,
I
that's so funny.
think I was a lot more closed off and guarded.
Mm,
And so it did feel scary to put myself out there kind of on full display. But I think I was kind of like, what do I have to lose in the situation more so?
yeah.
I knew I needed an outlet. I knew, yeah, maybe people will judge, but I think that's also what I'm trying to kind of break free from is
Mhm.
feeling judged or feeling the pressure of society or other moms or families or whatever it may be. And so I think it's been really nice and freeing
Yes, I was
to
just gonna say that.
so freeing to show up,
Freeing.
yeah,
Mhm.
authentically, which is so important, and it's opened so many more doors. I think there's just something about you kind of like laying it all out there that feels so welcoming for someone else
Mhm.
who might be going through a difficult time or experience to kind of reach out. Like you're essentially extending your olive branch through your openness
Yes.
and just people kind of come towards your light and want to
Yeah.
share and be part of that.
Ugh, I love every single word you said because it's like, not only are you freeing yourself and claiming that power for yourself, but
Yeah.
you are sharing the light and being your openness is bringing people just naturally bringing people in such a warm and inviting and kind way. And that's what the world needs, honestly. Like what everyone really wants.
Yeah.
Things are hard enough. You might as well relate to people on that level because that's what it really comes down to. And it just reminds me of, I've, during my postpartum and my early motherhood, I felt like not only my identity shifted, but how I defined success
Yes.
changed. So I would love to hear you speak to how you think of success now, as opposed to maybe if like before kids. Because it's like it comes down to what really matters, right? And you redefine how you see the world. So, how do you think success looks like now?
Yeah. This was a tough one for me. Uh,
Yeah, I
I
feel
think
you.
for our generation, right? Because we were just taught to achieve and set big
More, more,
audacious.
more.
Yes, and
Yeah.
not rest. Rest is for the weak, and
The hustle we grew up in the hustle culture for sure, like the girl bossing.
yes, which has served me so
Yeah,
well in a lot of ways.
because 'cause you're
And
really good at it. You are. You're
I
very good at it. And, like, I thrive on that energy too. I'm like, "Let's get things done," like,
right.
killing it, you know?
Yes,
But
but we also deserve rest, and
rest I say this to myself almost every day. Rest is productive,
yes,
period.
I need that. I need more of that. I'm still
Rest is
learning.
productive. Me too, but if you like, when you're listening to your body and saying, "Well, what do I need right now?" You're gonna have a better day.
Yeah,
You're gonna be healthier.
you're right. You're
Yeah.
right.
It's hard though, because, like, there's so much going as a mom that you're like and you're working and you're a mom, and you're just living as a person, you're a partner, you're a friend, you're a daughter, whatever, and there's
Yeah.
so much going on constantly, and you should try to stay on top of it, but I've been trying to actively get out of my head more and get into my body and be present more. And my whole entire life, I lived up in my imagination. Like I'm a writer and I'm a creative person. And now I'm like, that's awesome. But I also have to be in the present too.
Yes. Wow. Good for
Hmm.
you. That's awesome.
Thank you. A lot of things in the personal growth journey for both of
Oh,
us.
I know. It's hard.
It's hard, but you know what? I think you should be so proud. Like where you are right now, even though it feels hard and it's not done, just sit with being proud.
You're right. You're right. And I think
Mhm.
for success and what that looks like, I think I was always striving for more.
Yeah.
Always. I thought you have to climb the corporate ladder and you have
Same.
to kind of collect all of these, when I look back on more materialistic milestones or things. You need, the house or the vacation or whatever it may be. And I think
Mhm.
doing a lot of this work and recentering myself on what my values and our family values really are, what we
Mhm.
want, what we want for our kids, what we want for our lives, has forced me to have really uncomfortable conversations with myself.
Yeah,
about
that's important.
why did I want the things? What was
Yeah.
so
Like actually
important?
why?
Yes. And I think unfortunate truth is a lot of it came down to society's pressure and this image
Mhm.
that I felt I needed to portray to the world. And it's like, this
Mhm.
isn't serving me. This isn't serving our family. And now I think success is exactly to what you said. Am I actually nourishing my body? Am I showing up as the type of mom, professional, whatever it may be on any given day? Am I doing something to find joy for myself? Do my kids
Yes.
know how to find joy in the
Yeah.
little things?
Yeah.
And I think that's been, again, really freeing. Of we don't need things. We need experiences. We need to be
Yes.
present. We need to reframe how we're looking at things to make it more meaningful for us.
Yes. I just like the past couple of weeks, I'm going to share honestly because I'm in 4 days, it'll be 1 year of having own person. So first year of having my
Congratulations.
business. Thank you. And it's hard. Like it's a whole emotional journey to do that as well, alongside being a mom and all the grief and everything.
Yes.
And um, I was saying, my unproductive, unhelpful voice the other day was saying, I'm doing all this work. I'm doing so much. I'm not making a lot of money. And like, it's not fair. Like, that's how I was kind of talking to myself. But then I shared that with someone that I trust. And she said, you're having an experience though. You're
Yeah.
having an experience. You're learning.
Yeah.
And that's what you're getting. Maybe you're not getting dollars right now, but you're getting huge experiences that will push you to the where you actually want to be and where you're meant to go. And I'm like, okay, you're so right. It's an experience. So I just love how you said like it's not about things.
Yeah.
Um, and it reminds me of what we were talking about with the expectations of your birthing story and your mother, how you are as a new mom, and like all the products online. It's like you can like be perfect and blah blah blah, and it's like that's actually not helpful,
Yeah.
and that's not the case for everyone. Some people can put on the baby carrier perfectly and walk outside and be out there right away. Some people are in their house alone, curled up. So
Yeah.
it's a whole different experience for everyone. So I just think it's just beautiful and extremely refreshing to keep that honesty empowering people and the realness, making people feel more comfortable and just like we said, seen and feeling connection, feeling like you're not in this alone because you're really not. So just having if you just speak out a little bit, people will respond. It's like, you don't need to say much, but just acknowledging something can like totally change someone's day. Um, so that's really, really cool. Yeah. Well, honestly, I could talk to you for like 5 hours. We should do a part two.
Right?
But thank you so much. I'm not joking. This is like a dream conversation. I always wanted to have a podcast that talked about something like this. So thank you for being on and talking and sharing so openly. And just before we wrap up, you can share where people can find you, where they can listen to your podcast, and how to stay in touch.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the conversation. And I love what you're doing. I feel like this actually ties perfectly into just being authentic and all of the work that you're all of the hard work you're putting in and
Thank you.
empowering women and women founders. So really appreciate it. Yeah, anyone that's interested in following along or listening, Grace, never heard of her, is our podcast, a little play on does anyone actually know how to give themselves or each other grace? But
Right. I
we're
love that name. It's so good.
and at Grace Who Pod is our Instagram and whatnot. So we'd love for you guys to follow along. Appreciate the time and conversation, and so good to catch up.
So nice to chat with you. Okay, well, thank you and take care.
You too.